Hello, my friends. How are you? It's your pal Dave here for another weekly update on progress in beautiful Costa Rica. It's Sunday, October 19th today. It's a beautiful day right now, but there wasn't a cloud in the sky, but this is definitely still the rainy season. So I wanted to do a quick video for you guys to give you an update on what's been going on, and then I'm going to run into town while I can, because I don't know if you noticed, my Jeep does not have a top on it. The top broke. So I'm kind of treating it like a motorcycle in a way that, you know, you try and go out when the weather's the most favorable. So I got to run into town and run a couple errands. So I got to do that when it's not raining. Good week in progress. A little slow, but hang on, let me swing around so you can see what I'm looking at. I'm looking at my two awesome helpers right there. They're just the best. I think they think they're coming with me when I go, but they're not. It's a little hot today with when the sun is beating down, when it's not shaded. It's hot. It's hot. So didn't have as many guys on the crew. I think that Ricardo has got another job that he's kind of transitioning the guys over to gradually. But that's fine. He really thinks that, I mean, and he said yesterday that he thinks this will be, he doesn't say he thinks, that this will be the last week that we'll be doing construction up here. So a couple things I wanted to hit on. The first one that's probably the most significant is the electricity. You know, if you've been paying attention, you know that I've been dealing with a lot of challenges just getting electricity to my property. The main utility pole is just up past my pole here. It's just kind of right back in there in the trees. The problem is that the distance from that pole to my pole here was too far. And so my application was getting denied. Now, generally, they would allow for an exception. You know, they'd say, well, how far is it, and how big of a gauge wire are you going to use? And then you have to make sure that you reinforce everything appropriately, and so on and so forth. But mine just kind of got denied and kind of, you know, lost in the shuffle. And not really being that familiar with the process, and with ICE as the electric company, and of course my Spanish isn't that great. I mean, it just kind of got left in limbo for a while. Well, finally this last week, we had some of the big guys from ICE come out and look at the job, and they realized actually that one of the problems is that we were requesting a gauge of wire that we really didn't need, and it was going to make it heavier and more difficult, especially going the extra distance. So that was an error on our initial application. So we kind of had to backtrack and just checking to make sure dude's not getting into any trouble. We had to backtrack a little bit and resubmit some applications and everything like that. But the great thing now is what this all boils down to is it looks like we're going to have approval to actually go diagonally. So again, from the utility pole that's just right back here behind the trees, diagonally directly to my pole. We're going to reinforce this a little bit by doing a cable connection that'll actually connect into some of the metal joists on the roof of the first unit right here where I'm living. So that's really good. So it's feeling like most likely this next week we'll get the electrical hooked up, and I am still responsible for taking down that pole there, which I'll do. Kind of a shame, but I know we can reuse the box that was built onto the bottom. We'll just move it over to the base of the pole here, which is where it was in the first place. Oh well, live and learn with these projects, right? So that's the one of the big things that happened this last week. Zoom out just a little bit here so you can get a better perspective, which usually means you get to see my finger in one of the shots. The guys did a little bit more work trimming some of the trees back. Not that that's really imperative or anything like that, but it sure does enhance the view. I didn't really realize how much I would appreciate it when they cut them back, and it was like, wow, suddenly it really makes you feel like you're on this prominence up here, which we are. Go on, dude. So all the tile work is done. You know, a little bit of touch-up painting here and there. A little bit of painting needs to be done underneath there still. That was on my last video. Better make sure they catch that. Windows are in process. You can see the frames are in. Again, I kind of thought this was going to be done this last week, but it's in process. I trust these guys. This is a subcontractor, not Ricardo's guys who are doing the glass. But a bunch of the windows there. I think they're just waiting on a few more parts and pieces. Look, all the tiles done. Kitchen's essentially done. This will kind of get cleaned up and finished, but it won't be tiled because this is where the refrigerator goes. No need to tile that, but we'll stucco it and clean it up and everything. Same with this edge here. We just clean this up, stucco it, and paint it. But these look really nice. So we'll have the refrigerator here, microwave there, little Costa Rican Chorador coffee maker here, and then you've got your sink, and you got storage underneath there. We've got shelves in mind, but I don't really think we need shelves. I mean, maybe a shelf. Maybe we'll do like one shelf above here. We'll see. But look, the balcony is all done. So the door will be coming with the rest of the glass. Electrical's all done. Nice little balcony to step out onto. I was wondering what that noise was. It's Babe getting into something. Hey, get out of there. That's garbage. Not a bad little view. So one of the other things that we're going to get done here soon is we're going to get some gravel for the driveway. So we'll be able to take down all this awful fabric right here and do some gravel, and then I want to plant a row of kind of viney plants right along the edge here, so it'll grow up into the fence, which is pretty common. In fact, that's what we're going to do here. We decided the other day that what we're going to do for privacy fences is we're going to do a metal mesh fence, just a really simple mesh fence, and then we're going to put this like coconut husk fabric, same as like that type of fabric there, but it's brown, and you put it over the fence, and then again at the base you can plant some specific plants and vines and stuff, and you essentially make a natural fence, which is what my intention was anyway, but my thought was to use bamboo. And when I talked to them about that, they were like, it's expensive and it does rot over time, and if all you're trying to do is create like a lattice for plants to grow up at anyway, they're like, just do this mesh thing. So that's what we're going to do. So that's going to go along here, and then there will be a section of it along here. I mean, we can even do it as a barrier. I mean, it would have to be in potted plants and stuff, or like pots, but we could do a barrier along the edge of the pools. I'm just thinking of ways that we can make sure to create privacy. I do notice that when I stand here, I mean, if I don't have something blocking this, the guests in this cabina can see into the pool of that cabina, which I'm trying to avoid. So we'll figure out a solution to that, but contemplating some stuff. Oh, Babe, are you still... What did I tell you? Hey, cut it out. Babe, stop it. You know you're busted. So tiles looking really good in here. Finishing up in the bathroom. Electrical, all the lights and everything are ready to go. This one, I think they are tiling this side just because it's so much in view. Are you still in there, Babe? Oh, you stop that. Hey, cut it out. Cut it out. Get your nose out of there. Go on. Stop it. Messing up my video, girl. Anyway, there's the sink waiting to go in. Down there, there's the kitchen sink waiting to go in. And then I have the hardware for the both the sinks in storage in the little bodega over there. And what else? That's it. That's it. Time to start looking at buying furniture. You know, we'll do a door in here. Obviously, that's easy to do. But I mean, look at these. I mean, just gotta put in some switches and pop the lights into place and stuff like that. But we are really, really getting close. Oh, so one of the other things that we're talking about that I want them giving me a quote on is finishing these pump houses. And when I say that, I mean doing the stucco and everything and finishing the tops of them. Now, finishing the sides and everything with the stucco, that was always part of the agreement. But what we've decided is we're going to make railings to go around those things that are going to be kind of built-in seating areas too. So you can put a couple benches right there, a couple stools, I should say. And have a nice little place to sit and have your coffee or something like that. So I'm waiting on a quote that's going to be included with the privacy fences to get those little areas finished with the railings. The rest of it'll be is covered. They were gonna finish the sides anyway and the tops. I've got artificial grass that I want to put on the top of those to kind of make it feel a little bit more natural. I don't really want to do tile on those at this point. I don't know. I'm open to anything, but right now I've got the artificial grass, so that was the idea. But I'm open to suggestions from these guys. So that's going to get done here. If not this next week, pretty soon. I did also ask Ricardo if he could find out how much it would cost to get a guy up here with a bobcat and a truck and just clean out the space. I mean, we've got a lot of things we can recycle, a lot of extra metal. In fact, some metal that is still brand new that we could potentially resell. We're going to have a lot of cable. We've got like 500 meters of electrical cable that was running all the way down the hill to Chuck and Edie's place up to my place, and that's got some value to it. So I don't know if you can see that big roll that's over there of that mesh. That's kind of what Ricardo was talking about for the internal part of the privacy fence. And then the coconut husk covering would go over that. So for the short term, and so there would be another one right along here too. So creating some privacy for this space too. So in the short term, it's not exactly the prettiest thing, but when you realize, oh, it's because we're trying to get plants to grow up here, that's understandable. But the coconut husk does create 100% privacy. So especially if you've got it going up one side and down the other. So it's not like anybody can see through. So that's good. But I just want to make sure that we create nice little intimate spaces with each one of these cabinas. So I mean, the fence is going to come right along here. So when you're on the inside here, you have this cute little courtyard. We'll have some steppers right here. So as you come down the stairs, you kind of come down along this way here. Oops, sorry for my finger. Come along this way to get into the pool. There's going to be a little shower, exterior shower here. I can remind Ricardo about that, but they were hard at work getting all the plumbing put in, so that's great. All the electrical down here, all the lights and everything are ready to go. If you notice, oopsie, sorry, my finger again. If you notice over here in the corner, we even have electrical that is set up for e-cars. So somebody comes up here with their e-car, and they need to be able to plug in. This is 220, and it's made for a lot of those chargers. So they'd obviously have to bring their own charger with them, but they'd have a place to plug in. So I thought that was pretty smart, thinking about the world we live in. Oh look, this pool has got almost full of water, completely full of water. I did think we were going to make a little bit more progress on the pools this week, but doesn't seem like we have. I know we've got probably 80% of all the equipment that we need. Most importantly being the pumps, I should say. Each one of these has got its own pump. But I don't know what's involved in getting it all hooked up. I mean, it's plumbed and everything. We've got you know, water lines and so on and so forth. That was already put in when the pool was put in. So it's just a matter of people who know what they're doing hooking that stuff up. So, but man, I mean, we are just really getting down to it. I mean, it'll feel so nice to have this whole area cleaned up. You know, my personal tendency is to keep things nice and tidy. So having things kind of piled up and looking kind of crappy like this, the way that it's been, has been, you know, kind of a drag. Especially when you're looking beyond it at how beautiful the view is. Let's go take a little walk, shall we? So a lot of metal that if we don't recycle or, you know, are able to resell, good stuff that we can use for other projects. In fact, I don't think we're going to need to buy a lot of metal for the privacy walls, privacy fences, because we do still have a bunch of metal pieces that I think would work. But I will leave all that stuff up to Ricardo. I trust him very much. He has really done a great job. If you ever decide you're looking for a builder and you want somebody who you can trust, I mean, just a very honorable, straightforward, you know, nice guy, really intelligent when it comes to this stuff. I mean, he was the one who was able to facilitate getting the big muckety mucks from the electric company up here, along with Eduardo. But it's all about who you know, and in a little country like Costa Rica, it is totally about who you know. And Eduardo knows a lot of people within ISE, but they're mostly down south. But Ricardo, he knew Pablo. Pablo's the man. Pablo's the ISE godfather for this area. And he came up here in person. So I got to thank him profusely for his help. And he was the one who thought that it wasn't going to be any problem and we would get this done right away. And I just needed to resubmit some of these permits and blah, 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 which we're getting done. But yeah, feeling good about that. And it's always good to know people like Pablo in towns like this. Once you know, it's like, hey, that is the man for ISE. It's a small town. I'm sure I've seen him before. In a grocery store or something like that. He did look somewhat familiar. And he spoke perfect English, which was so nice. So that's going to be a huge relief getting that done. And then just imagine, I mean, this whole area nicely cleaned up. As we wait to see how the season unfolds with rentals and stuff like that, at least we have a nice clean lot that we're looking at, so we know what we've got here when we start working on phase 2. I'm excited to do that too. I mean, my goal with this property was to turn it into business, right? And I'd like to be able to utilize all of it. And when you look at this space and this view, having it just be a bench right here, it's kind of selling this spot short, isn't it? So it would be nice to get this squared away the way I want it. And if you haven't seen the other videos, the plan here is to do an outdoor event center for small parties, for like 100 people parties type of thing, but weddings, birthday parties, things like that. So where I'm standing here, this would be a covered hacienda all the way down there to the to the bodega. So you've got covered spot here where you've got picnic tables and hammocks, and you're looking out at this beautiful view. You know, there's always space to do a pool in the future, but I don't want to do a pool yet. Pools are expensive, and you don't get a lot of return on your investment on a pool. And when I'm trying to make this more of an event center, I'd rather be able to have more flat space, more mingling space, if you will. But so this will be a hacienda from where I'm standing down over there to the little storage room. And then on this side over here, we'll have, I mean, it'll still be continued hacienda, but we'll do kind of an outdoor kitchen right here. And then on top of that outdoor kitchen, we'll have a rooftop deck. Yeah, I don't think we could have seating up there for 100 people. In fact, that's ridiculous as I hear it come out of my mouth. But a great spot to be able to have some people sit up there, some people sitting down here. You've got the whole covered hacienda for seating. So yeah, you know, it's still a work in progress. I think I'll make sure that we get an architect to do it right so that we're taking advantage of the space. But this corner right here, I think is just, this is the big money corner, especially if you go up. Once you're up, and remember, all this fabric will come off of this fence. And in fact, I have property on the other side of this fence. So when we do a retaining wall, which we have to do eventually, we'll actually be able to regain some of this land too. And then, you know, we'll be able to see what we're doing a little bit better once that fence is down and all that. But my point was going to be, once you go up on this point right here, on this little spot, I mean, this is where the view is just amazing. And I think I mentioned it in my last video that one of my friends who does a lot of yoga was like, man, you would have this place booked every single morning for sunrise yoga, because the sunrise is just right there every morning. Wakes me up 5:30. Somehow I became an early riser. So yeah, so this mesh, this is the stuff we would use, or something similar, for the privacy fence, and then just have the fabric draping over it, and, you know, secured in a bunch of spots and all that typical stuff. But I thought that was a great idea, and obviously pretty economical too, and it really accomplishes what I wanted to accomplish, which is more of a natural barrier than some ugly looking fence. So, okay, my friends, I think I've rambled enough for one Sunday, but thank you guys so much for all your continued support. I'm so excited. These are going to be ready to be rented by Christmas time. We're definitely going to need to put in a little bit of reflective film on the bathroom on this one here. I thought I ordered windows with reflective film, but that's okay. That's easy to add, but you just totally see right in there, and that's the shower. So anyway, more on that one in future videos. So thank you guys so much. You take care. Bye-bye.